Welcome back. It's your host Denyin, and introducing Toby. He's an international dating coach, originally German. He's been pretty much all over the world, and like just helps people out with their dating lives. And yeah, he's a semi professional football player, like third league, and yeah. Um, do you want to tell him a bit more about yourself?
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for inviting me. Yeah, I'm Tobias from Germany, or I mean, Toby, Tobias always sounds a bit shit. But yeah, I've been for the last 8 years, I've been traveling a lot. Used to live in 8 different countries. Now I live in Spain. I'm 30 years old, and yeah, I work as a dating coach. So basically, I was, yeah, born in Germany, lived there for 20 years, and then I did my first travel actually to Thailand for 3 weeks, with a friend, 4 weeks, I think. Oh, no, 6 weeks, 6 weeks, sorry. It was my first big travel. I never even, like, I think I've never been in a plane before. And I was like, I'm fucking going. And I just booked the flight. My family was like, what the fuck? And then my best friend was like, I'm coming. I'm like, okay, let's go. And yeah, that was like the biggest, like just like outside the box. I've never been overseas, never been to the US. I was 20. I've been to like Netherlands. I've been to Bulgaria once, and that like just like some European countries. But Thailand is a complete culture shock, right? So yeah, 20 years old, just arrived there, and I was hooked on traveling. And we did the whole thing, just made like crazy experiences, just like living the life, island hopping, everything. And then at that point, I had a girlfriend. It was my first girlfriend, and I came back, and she was like, "I want to go, or like we should go to Australia." And Germans are very common to go to Australia for like 1 year after school. So we decided like, okay, let's go. So she quit everything, like her whole university, whatever. I don't know. Yeah, she was really down to go. And yeah, we went to Australia, right? And I was 1 year in Australia. I was like on the East Coast. I was close to where you're living actually. Um, and yeah, just there for like a year. Then I went back, and I knew already that like when I arrived in Germany, I knew that I'm not going to be able to live in Germany anymore because the culture and the weather and the people and just like the general vibe of the country, like Australia is like being in Australia, like you're very lucky to be in Australia, right? Like you guys like the money you guys make, the weather you have, the options you have, like the whole like the climate. The only thing is like you have like spiders and snakes everywhere, so that
Yeah, but
doesn't
you
really work.
rarely even see him.
Well, I saw them too much,
Oh,
way too much. Like I'm sleeping in my car. I had my first night in the Gold Coast. I had like a huge huntsman walking through the living room. First night, I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!" Um, so I had some like snake encounters, everything. So yeah, it's great country. It's amazing, and you guys are very lucky. But yeah, for like long term, I mean, we can't like getting a visa is very difficult anyway, right? But that's like Australia. When Australia, my girlfriend actually cheated on me on in Australia, so I ditched her there. That was like probably the worst month of my life. And then um yeah, came back to Germany, knew I don't want to live in Germany anymore, and then immediately went to Budapest. Moved to Budapest like 2 months later. Budapest is in Hungary. I don't know if you know, guys. Budapest, very famous city in Europe. Actually, I would say probably the second best city in Europe. And that's where really like my whole the dating social skill journey started, where I was actually actively going out and just cold approaching girls in the street in the daytime or at night as well. And I just saw like this crazy like learning curve of social skills and getting rid of social anxiety that I was completely hooked on. Like, holy fuck, this is like because I was looking for like a solution for social anxiety for like 10 years at this point. From like no, not 10 years, like 6 years, like until like 14 till yeah 22 or something. And yeah, that was really where I was like, fuck, this is the first time where I feel I beat social anxiety. Just going out, approaching girls, just like boom, taking your balls and jumping out of the plane. Basically, that's how it feels the first time you do it. Actually, the first time I did it in Australia, and I was like, I was hooked, and that's I just kept going. Then I moved to Barcelona a few months later, and I was super hooked as well because the weather is amazing, the city is amazing, and we have a lot of Latinas here. So I stayed here, and then COVID hit, and then I moved to Brazil for like a few months. Then I went to Mexico for a few months, And then I started in COVID, actually started to start my coaching business. And then, yeah, started my coaching business. Took me definitely, was like probably this, yeah, probably the hardest thing I ever did, getting that off the ground. And then, yeah, basically went traveling again last year in Colombia, Argentina, Brazil again, Mexico, US, here and there, and then back to Barcelona. And now we're here, and yeah, I help guys with getting rid of social anxiety, getting rid of approach anxiety, improving their online dating, Instagram, but also like looking at more like the holistic approach, like how do you dress, how do you eat, what's your discipline, do you have a problem with corn hub, all these things, you know?
Nice. There'd be
So
so many problems with that sort of stuff in the West, though. Like, just be like
yeah,
a whole list. You'd just be like, okay, perfect. Like any guy who isn't like on self improvement, come here. You pretty much I can just help you out.
yeah, yeah.
But even the guys
Well,
on self improvement, you can just give them that extra kick and just
yeah, yeah. So yeah, in general, I mean, the West right now, the men are. It's not just like that the women are just like going downhill. It's also that the man just went downhill like crazy over the last 30 years, I would say 40 years. You know, like
it's like
the
a continual decrease. Like also like the testosterone count is just like a that consistent, just slowly dropping, and it's just getting worse and worse.
yeah, that's also another thing, right? That's something that I don't know how much it is like caused by like plastics and the water and the food and everything, or if it's really like also like a psychological warfare and it goes into the physical side. I don't really know, but yeah, the testosterone is just so low. And women like masculine man. Like most women are feminine, so they like masculine man. But we have like this imbalance, right? Like women are getting very masculine and men are getting more feminine. And then we have like we don't have any polarity. It's just like men against like neutral against neutral. And yeah, I think that's a big problem we have right now. Like women are like we're the real man, and men are like we're the good woman, and it's just one big clusterfuck basically.
You can say that again. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like how much like people don't even notice it though. It's like people think that's like normal, and those are like the very typical relationships that like the neutral balance. But they're like, oh well, that's how I want my relationship to be like that. That very much that balance and that neutral sort of. And I'm like, but you lose so many other qualities, and yet you guys don't even get the best of both worlds. It's like,
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I mean the whole yeah. Let's make each other equal. You know, let's make the same money. Let's be the woman, the leader. It just it's not how it works. You know, because just because something for the last 20 years they think it is like that, but we have like millions of years where the roles were very very firm.
narrow. Yeah.
And that's also why women are so attracted to guys who are just like women who are attracted to guys who are dangerous. You know, like it's crazy. There's like this guy in prison and they get like love letters because they killed someone, you know? Like just imagine that. Like imagine like that would never happen to a woman. If a woman kills a guy or a woman, she would never get any she would be like, this girl's crazy. I'm gonna stay away from her. But if a guy
Yeah.
kills he's like, oh, this guy, he's dangerous. He can protect me. He's dominant. He's impulsive. Like, he can get shit done. Like, I like this guy, you know? And that's how crazy the world is. Because, like, you always have to think about dating about evolutionary psychology. You know? Like, one of the best things to look into is like David Buss. I don't know if you know David Buss.
Never heard of them.
He's basically the OG of evolutionary psychology. And they really go into like why are we men so focused on like looks and why are women so focused on like confidence and status and these things, you know? It really goes and you understand way more why certain things are happening.
Right. So, like, for an example, could you just like provide an example from the book, or like,
Yeah, an example, for example, is one big thing is like social proof. For example, like if you are surrounded like a guy who has a lot of success with women is deemed like very successful, like very attractive by other women, right? Because
yeah,
it just means that oh, if he's chosen by this woman, he must be high in the hierarchy and he must be a great guy, right? But if you have a woman who's surrounded by 10 guys, it's not the same effect, because it also goes back into like, because a man can reproduce as much as he wants. Like a man could basically get 900 kids in his life or more, but a woman can only get like one per 9 months, right? So if you have
Yeah.
10 men around that woman, none of these men knows whose kid it is.
And then it would
That's
start back to the Romans, like pretty much how they do is just basically murder everyone who, you know, and then just keep the women so then they know whose like really kids it is
Yeah, yeah, that you could
as
do that.
well.
Yeah, that's the big problem. Why like promiscuous women are like, in all cultures, promiscuity is seen as not a good thing, because you can't prove paternity, right?
And then
So
that'd
you,
be just starting more conflict as well.
yeah, that's another thing, right? That's another thing, like because you, but the big thing is that you cannot prove paternity. Like imagine you raise a kid for 30 years and it's not even yours.
Yeah, it's just like what did I just do with my last 30 years? It's like he's not even mine. He's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, and one big thing about from David Buzz's books, Evolutionary Psychology, is the biggest indicator or denominator for domestic violence is um, having a stepfather in the house. So having a father in the house who is not the biological father of the kids. That's the biggest denominator for domestic violence.
that's wild, but
Statistically, yeah, statistically.
it's wild, but it also makes sense. Just yeah, as we stated it. So yeah, just as stated earlier, but it's
Yeah,
like yeah,
yeah. I would highly recommend to check out David Buss, Michael Sartain. There's so many things where you just like, that makes sense. Oh, that makes sense. And we are so focused, and like usually men we like young women, like we like youth in women, right?
yeah,
It's not like because we are like superficial or something, because we want healthy babies, right? Like a woman, the most fertile a woman is like, what is it, like, I don't know, 19 till 23 or something. That's when she's the most fertile,
something like that. Yeah,
or maybe even younger, but we don't want to go that route. But um yeah, that's why we are so obsessed with like youth, and like the whole world is obsessed with youth, and also the beauty standards, they are over the whole world, they are the same, like even they're the whole like the same. You can go to Dubai, you can go to South America, you can go anywhere, the beauty standards are the same. You're never going to see a culture that prefers a woman that is has it's like a ratio, 1.6 is called, right? So the hip to, what is it, hip to waist ratio, right? It's in
yeah,
all cultures they prefer 1.6. So you like, there's no culture in the world that prefers a woman who has like the V shape.
yeah,
For example, like we men, we have like the V shape, and then we have like, basically we go like this, right?
yeah.
But a woman, she goes like this, and then she has like the boobs or the ass, right? And through all cultures in the world, it goes there. And they did a study with blind man. They've never seen a woman in their life, and they asked the man, could you draw your ideal shape in a woman? And he draw the same 1.6 ratio.
That's awesome. At least at least they all have like it's a biological response then. It's gotta be like
Yeah, exactly. It's biological. It's evolutionary ingrained in us. Same like many, like they say, no, boys and girls, they're the same. And if you give if a girl plays with a Barbie, or a boy plays with soldiers, that's just social programming, right? But it's not
yeah,
true, because like you can give a kid like who's 1 year old or 2 years old, who doesn't have any social programming, and they start playing, like the woman takes the Barbie and the boy takes the tank. You can't
it's
really
just
explain it.
I guess it's just also that natural response in us either to fight and their natural response is just to dress up, look nice, and
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. It is just different, and there's so much you can talk about, really. Um, Another good book I think is The Female Brain. It's actually written by a woman. She talks about like that a woman has like 10 times more, a man has like 10 times more testosterone in his body, right? So that's why our upper body strength is always like, was it like 4 times higher than a woman?
something like that. But it's like so it's like even when you like fight a chick, it's like so obvious. It's like you don't. It's like compared to their punches, like you don't want to hit them too hard. It's like
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
like
yeah. It's not even a discussion. It's not even a discussion. And then they complain that yeah, we should just like play sports all together. Like, yeah, good luck.
even if they're on like massive testosterone boosters, it's not going to do anything. It's just like it's going to more so just cause more issues for them, and it's just going to not even out. It's just going to make it probably more and more divided than what it already is.
Yeah, I mean, it makes them stronger, I guess, but it's not gonna get them close to a man's power. And yeah, they're gonna have a lot of struggles at the end. They're gonna
Yeah.
have like the hormonal crazy. Like I got attacked by the way several ladyboys in Thailand.
How did
They
that
were
go?
was not good. Like I was walking with my friend in Thailand, and then out of nowhere, just like this yeah, trans lady boy comes up to me and just puts her cigarette on my arm, just like like pulls out a cigarette on my arm. I'm like, what? So I go into the shop and I buy like these these hot soups, right? You can get them in Thailand like that, and you get like the hot water straight away. I buy the soup. I'm like, here you go, take my soup. She got my soup over her. And then we see the same girl 20 minutes later. She's behind us and she just runs and she punches my buddy in the back. I mean, it's not a it's a man, actually. It's a man, right? He punches my buddy in the back, boom. And we're like, what the hell? And what are we gonna do? Like, it's a woman, it's a man. What are we gonna do? Like, we're not gonna beat up a woman, but he's not a woman. I don't know. Yeah, my buddy pulled a knife, and he's like, "What's happening?" Right? And then like some people came over, and they're like, "Oh, we saw everything. Like, let's go to the police." And we're like, "Yeah, let's go to the police. Let's see that she just attacked us from behind." And then police station was closed. So,
Couldn't do much about that. And then what
mm.
about like your other encounters?
Sorry, say again.
Oh, so did you only have two encounters with that happening, or it's just it's just I've never heard a story where like people been just like attacked by like ladyboys. It's like what the
No,
it's like a massive like what the
because
fuck sort of thing.
no, it happens because they are oftentimes on drugs as well, right?
Yeah,
Because but these were also the working girls, working man girls.
yeah.
Right. So they are like on drugs. They are on several things. This girl also like tried to rob a girl before with like tried to steal her purse before. She was out of control on that night.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So she was definitely out of control. Um, but yeah, even later on, like was it like a month later or something, like a few weeks later, like another one. She tried to attack me with like an iron bar. No.
Fuck.
So yeah, I mean these you gotta be careful with these women. They just more aggressive. I don't know what it is because they inject hormones or something, so they're like all over the place. So
Yeah, it'd be
yeah.
like a lack of progesterone, and also just be obviously, as I said, the imbalance in hormones. But also going back to 1.6 ratio, why do you reckon chicks want to actually get like that sort of also like that V sort of taper as well? Just because I've noticed like a lot of chicks at the gym want that very like muscular and also like more so masculine sort of taper to them. It's like would you understand that from the dating world?
That the woman want that for themselves?
Yeah, like a lot of the chicks who I
Yeah,
go to the
I see
gym with are very
that.
like that.
Yeah, I see that a lot in the US, and I mean, I don't know how it is for you, but for me, it's like the biggest turn off ever because I don't want another man. All right, I don't
No,
need another man to drive. But I think it has to do with, yeah, they have higher testosterone, and they are definitely higher testosterone. I would say that, and it's also just like, oh, I'm gonna compete with men. You know, like
yeah,
I wanna, yeah, I wanna be strong like a man. I don't want to be feminine. That's like just like basically saying because it's literally like the opposite of femininity, having a V shape. So I think it's just yeah, basically completely saying no to like feminine stuff and being like there's no difference and I want to be strong as well. That's what it is. But yeah, I don't. I mean, one of my friends actually here, she's Brazilian and she definitely has high testosterone, and she also wants that. She's like, oh look at my shoulders. I'm like, yeah, it's not really my vibe, but. Go for it.
it's all
I would
like
say
I reckon.
one.
I reckon it's also the same thing like women who fight and that sort of stuff. It's like it's not really attractive as well. It's just like same thing. It's like sort of it's our duty, but then they're trying to take over our role as well.
Yeah,
It's,
I mean, women who fight, that's already like, how did they get into that in the first place, right? Like, if you are into
yeah,
fighting, you are already usually high testosterone because any feminine girl is gonna be like, what the fuck is this? Like, I need to go. Like, I want to leave. You know, like if you stay there, that's already something. You know, like boxing, just like boxing with a trainer, that's a different thing. That's just like more like cardio, right? But like sparring and
yeah.
actually fighting, that's another story, I think. Right.
Also, is there like going back to what you said earlier? Anything else that happened on your Australia tour, or
Sorry, say again.
is it like because you said like yeah, like a wild like Australia was wild. Like what else also happened in Australia?
Oh yeah, Australia. Phew, just like everything, man. I lived like I don't know if you know the backpackers in Australia. I lived like the backpacker life. Like I bought a car. I bought like an SUV, a big Mitsubishi Challenger, still like my favorite car to this day. And I put like a bed in there. I put like a little wooden structure, put a bed on it, and just traveled the whole of Australia and slept in the corners. And the thing is, you always have these Wi-Fi cell you know these um
Like the free Wi-Fi?
yeah, the free Wi-Fi, right? We don't
Yeah.
have that in Europe. That's like an Australian thing, right?
Oh, I didn't know that. I was just thinking that was just like everywhere you could get like free Wi-Fi. I'm like, sweet, I don't have to pay
We
for
have
it.
we have like free Wi-Fi everywhere, but it's very shit usually. But if you park next to one of these things in Australia, like you're good, you know? And I was
Yeah.
literally parking to next these like these pink things. How's it called? I don't know. These pink thing. I'm parking next to them. I'm like,
Oh, it'd be like
holy,
a Telstra box. Yeah.
yeah. Telstra, it's called. Yeah, Telstra. Um, and I parked next to him. I have like Wi-Fi, like insane Wi-Fi, you know, and it was funny. But no, it was great. Like I was like driving on the beaches, you know, sleeping on the beach. I don't know if you've been to Fraser Island. Done Fraser Island with my own car. It was probably like best 2 days of my life, honestly. Like with two of my best friends, just like on the beach. I woke up like wild dingoes like surrounded my car. I was driving above me like a huge eagle flying like with me on the beach. You know, it was just crazy. And then also like the snakes and everything. So Australia was definitely a wild one, a wild one. Um, Maybe the best year of my life, looking back, to be honest. But yeah, also a lot of shit. Like I was broke several times. We were like working on farms, you know, making $12, like no, $18 an hour. Um, just like 10 hours on a like picking apples, 10 hours, you know, like the like slaves. And yeah,
Yeah.
but it was good. It was definitely a crazy experience. Learned English, learned proper English, like really speak good English.
Did
Um,
you learn any Aussie slang? Or
yeah, I mean, people surveys sometimes, like, especially when I came from Australia, they were like, "You're Australian," because like my accent was more Australian. Now I hang around a lot more with like English people, so it goes more in that direction. So I don't really have an accent, but I don't at the same time I have like an accent. But I know, yeah, I know all the slang, like brekkie and actually no, I forgot most of it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely like if someone speaks to me, I understand them.
yeah.
You know.
So that was definitely a more so like memorable time. And also, what about the other countries that you traveled to as well? Like, you know, you said you went to Brazil, Mexico, and
Yeah, I mean they're all amazing. Like Brazil especially is Rio de Janeiro. I would definitely recommend everyone to go to Rio de Janeiro at some point in his life. Amazing, especially also like for dating. Like Brazilian women are just the most warm and friendly and open woman you can find, in my experience. And then I also learned Portuguese and Spanish fluently, so that helps a lot. And I learned that all from just dating girls. I would have never learned that without dating girls because like learning on Duolingo or in school, it's boring. Like it doesn't there's no motivation. But if you go on a date with a hot girl and you're there with like 3 hours and you have to understand her or want to understand, like your brain is like melting, but you're learning a lot. So like Spanish and Portuguese, I learned by just dating.
but
And
also, how long did it take you to learn those? Because he's also said that, like you're you can speak multiple languages, and like how did you learn to just wouldn't your brain be like a bit slower on the next, or even be quicker on the next, or what was it like transitioning to the different languages?
Yeah, so Spanish took me like one year, I would say, learning Spanish. And then because Spanish and Portuguese are very similar, right? So if you speak Spanish, you can learn Portuguese very fast. It's like if you speak Spanish and you read Portuguese, it's very easy. Speaking is a different story, but I would say, if you're good with languages, you can learn it in 3 months. If you are bad with languages, you can learn it in 8 months or something, if
Yeah,
you speak Spanish, right? But yeah, like I mean, German, 20 years native mother tongue, and then Australia. I mean, English. Yeah, English was okay, but I was never like that good. Then 1 year in Australia obviously helped. Now I speak English all the time in my work, most of the time. Sometimes German, but yeah, Spanish definitely. Yeah, like 1 year, I would say 1 year, and then going to Colombia and Mexico, where almost no one speaks English, that helps a lot as well. Because here in
because
Spain is it's very international, so you can get away with English. Like I have friends, they've been here for 5 years, they don't speak Spanish. I'm like, what are you doing?
at least learn the native language that where you're living at.
I mean, that's my thinking, but they are just like, I can't be asked.
Too much effort, too much time.
I don't know. Like, I want to learn the language. Like my next language is Russian, you know, and I'm gonna learn that as well. I'm probably gonna go to Serbia or to Russia for like a few months and just learn Russian. And it's probably gonna take me like a year as well.
Because their language is so not compact, but it's so like foreign to everyone else outside of like they got like I've seen some of them, they've got like threes, they've got like random letters that are, like for like a normal English speaker, it's like how am I meant to comprehend that? How am I meant to say that?
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
also
Yeah. I mean, I studied Russian when I was 20, before I left to Thailand. I was actually studying Russian for 1 year in university for some weird reason. But I mean, I think at some point it's going to come very beneficial. So I can read and write Russian already, but I cannot, yeah, I mean, speaking, no way. So that's why, but I have a foundation. I can read and write already. So if I go there, I probably can learn as well. Like, that's why I said like 1 year maybe, because Russian is difficult. Russian is difficult, 100%. But yeah, I should definitely over
isn't
the, yeah,
no
I should definitely.
isn't it some sort of like Bulgarian as well? Isn't Russian Bulgarian like very similar?
I think so. I mean, they definitely write Kirill, like in the same letters.
Yeah.
I don't know how close the language actually is. Gotta be close-ish, you know.
So you just learn that so then you can just see the different culture and then you can just learn like more different like tactics and that sort of stuff, or you what's the plan for when you go to Russia?
Yeah, I mean, Russia, I would just go there for basically approaching women, learning about the culture, and then learning the language. And I'm gonna learn the language again just by dating, 100%.
And do you reckon you'll just be there more so for like the long term, or just come back to Spain, or what's sort of the
Yeah,
plan with that?
I think the weather in Russia is too bad to stay there long term. And I don't know about the culture in general, how much I'm gonna like it. Actually, my I live with a guy. He lived in Russia for 8 years. He's American. He was married to a Russian girl. And he lived there. He said, I cannot see myself living there. But who knows? I've never been, so I should check it out first. Problem is, I have like a big dog now, so like traveling is a bit difficult.
Yeah, but it's sort of like at least you've got like more of a reason to come back home, or if you like go for like a week or two, you can come back home and be like home sweet home. I got all everything I need here, and you can just just chill out with your dog or something.
Yeah, I should definitely go at least for a month or something. Just check it out. Just see how I like it. Like check out St. Petersburg, maybe check out Belgrade, and just see it. Because I mean, I love Russian women. They're also very traditional. They're the opposite of what we usually are, right? So they are like feminine, masculine. We like the polarity. Let's go, right? And yeah, I think I like that a lot. Like if you approach like a Russian girl on the street, she's like, thank you for being a man." You know, if you approach some like leftist feminist girl, she's like, "What the fuck? Like, get on Tinder." You know. So yeah,
But yeah, but who's even to say that that chick's straight from all the brainwashing? Like seriously, like
I
with that
think
much brainwashing around, it's like
I
even to
think
think about it, we had brainwashing back in school. Like it was, yeah.
yeah. I mean the whole yeah, man, woman, they're all really brainwashed, pretty really bad. Yep, hundred
But then
percent.
also, like, what's your views on like feminism as a dating coach as well? Would it be similar to like more so the very much traditional sort of like anti like fourth wave, or would it be like what's your whole viewpoint on it?
I mean, I think feminism in general was a good thing until some point, right? I think we're just in the extreme area right now, where yeah, I mean, honestly, most people they reject the current feminism. Like most girls I talk to, they reject the current feminism as well. They're like, this is crazy. I don't want to dye my hair blue, and I like to shave, you know, like these things. So I mean, generally speaking, it was good. Like, okay, like women can vote, women can work, women can do this, but you also the agenda behind that is right. Like, oh, if we get the woman to work as well, we can just have a way more. We can just have people consume way more products, right? So that's also a good agenda behind just making the woman to go and work. You know? And the whole thing that like women are these days are like, I want to do my thing, I want to be able to work, I want to make my money. That's all coming from brainwashing as well. Mm.
But then also
Because
going back to what you said, do you reckon they also wanted women to work so that they could just tax the family household just more and more? Just because you got dual incomes, you got dual tax, you've got as
yeah,
well. Just
yeah, you can tax them more, and they can pay more, they can buy more stuff, and yeah, and it gets the birth rate down usually because people are
diabetes,
more
birth control, yeah, those chemicals. Plus, on top of that, it goes into the water system, and there's more effects from there.
yeah. That's probably what
Yeah,
affects men as well, right?
because we've got birth control, then we've got top of that birth control, which I try and clean out with chlorine, which doesn't work. If you read History Generation, if you want, by what is it? I think it's like Dr. Anthony J or something like that. But if you want to learn like a bit more about it, read it because it tells you about microplastics, um, birth control, basically because I just obviously just pretty much just piss it out. It's just like okay, water sewage, chlorine, also plus the copper and iron in the water, and on top of that the mold and whatever else. It just fucks with everyone, and it's just like okay, yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind
Yeah,
of
I mean,
wild when you unwind that.
yeah, I should definitely find like a high quality filter as well. I filter my water with like an Amazon filter. I don't know how good they are. But like getting some like real high end filter probably would make a good difference as well, no?
Do you have like the one that I've got, like the Pure Geek one, or the Geek Pure, whatever one it is, the reverse osmosis?
I have like like the Amazon, like they have like here no. They have like this jug and you put the filter in it. It's like a plastic thing with coal.
Yeah,
It's coal. And every month you have to change it. I actually have to change it right now. Where do I have it by the way? But yeah, that's the one I use. I don't know how good it is. Definitely, I mean, because the water in Barcelona is dog shit. It's very full of chlorine. It tastes like you're going to the swimming pool.
fuck that. So it's just like yeah.
Yeah, it's really bad.
I don't think the water would be that shit in Europe. It's like
Yeah, I mean in Germany, it's actually in Australia, it's really bad. The chlorine. You drink tap water?
oh yeah.
You do drink tap water?
What do you think I got? Why do you think I got bottled water? But that's got chlorine in it as well. But it's why do you think I got bottled water all the time? And even yeah,
I think Australia so far was the worst when it comes to like the tap water. It's really really strong. The thing here it's also strong, but Australia was next level in my opinion. Um, So over there, I always had to buy these little these little juices, this high
Yeah.
concentrated juice. Just put it in there, and then it's like a bit sweet, but at least I don't have the other stuff anymore.
So
That's what I do.
that's the only way how you're able to actually drink the water.
Yeah, that's how I did it. Or you buy bottled water, obviously, but it's a bit of a hassle.
Because I guess yeah. It sort of depends
Actually,
on where
maybe
you are.
it's probably better. It's probably in the big cities. It's really bad. Where you are, it's probably better.
I don't know. It tastes the same here. It tastes the same. Like in Perth and Sydney, Melbourne, generally just tastes all the same. It might just be my palate's just used to it, or
Oh yeah, no, it's not like it's not good. If you can because in Germany we have really good tap water. Everything like north of France, I think, like the tap water is really really good. Even in Balkan some countries, but yeah, here in Australia, fuck me, it's like drinking out of a swimming pool. Honestly, definitely would not recommend that without a filter.
it's like it's pure poison.
I actually don't know how bad chlorine is for you.
Yeah, you can only have like a little bit of chlorine because it's meant to sort of like cleanse your gut, but the amount they just basically throw in is yeah, like you're meant to only have like a very, very small amount. It's
Hmm.
not meant to be like it's meant to be like one of the last like ingredients, but that's about it. Like if you check the other bottled water, like Voss for example, like that's just that's like Norwegian tap water. It's like perfect as, but it's just like basically like ice water, like literally like ice water, and it's like nothing's in it.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's literally just tap water.
Yeah.
But also, I wanted to. I was also curious about, how you said starting the business was the hardest thing you've ever done. What was some of the challenges and sort of stuff you had to learn from starting your business, and how did you grow and develop as a person from learning those skills, and how's it helping you out now?
Hmm. Yeah, so it was the hardest thing ever because first of all, it's always a mindset thing. It's always like because you don't believe that you can do it. So if you don't believe it, how are you gonna close a client if you don't believe in it, right? It's so difficult. But also just like yeah, like texting people, getting on calls. You don't believe in it, but you're doing calls. It's so difficult. And just like getting that first client is just yeah, it took me like 6 months or something, you know. And all the time, like my money was just like I had no job, so I was just focusing on that. But I was burning through my savings, and I was like, I'm not gonna make it. I'm not making it, you know. And I also spent like 5K on like a business coach, and I was like, this is 6 months now. Like I don't have anything. Like it was literally the worst thing ever. Because I also like I had to go back to like a normal job here, and like the jobs here are just paid absolute dog shit, like 1,500 a month. Like you like people don't even survive on that. Like they survive on that like without saving a penny. So that's definitely not an option to live here long term. But yeah, it was super difficult. I think the biggest part is always like the belief and the inner game. Every guy who starts a business, usually the first 6 months are hell, because you have like the belief and inner mindset is just not aligned with being a business owner. And then even actually later on, I got my first clients, but I was still struggling a lot. And at some point, even my accounts got shut down by
Like a
Meta.
bank account. Yeah.
No, my Facebook account. So I was basically getting clients only from Facebook at this point, and my Facebook just got shut down. So for like 2 3 months, I could not use my Facebook, and I
So
couldn't
then
get
how
new
did you
clients.
get clients from there? How did you get
I,
clients?
I didn't. I didn't. I was just like, let's see what happens. At some point, I was just sitting on the beach and I had like no income, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna see how what happens, you know. And that's how you learn like to deal with uncertainty and to deal with like shit is like happening and you can't really do much about it. And always some crazy things happened out of nowhere. If you just be like, if you just let it go, if you're like, you know what? I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm just gonna like Like there's like I don't know if you know the book Reality Transurfing. I already highly recommend Reality Transurfing to read that book. But it basically says
I'm
like,
partway through it. Yeah.
yeah, it basically says like, don't force it, and if things don't work out, just like let it go. And if you're like in deep trouble, also let it go, and just basically say like, my world always takes care of me, or God or the universe, whatever your belief is, just takes care of me, and it always happens, like always. Like I literally had like one day I had like $200 in my bank account. I was like, oops, I'm stranded in Brazil, and someone calls me. He's like, "Oh, I just sent you 5K because this and this and this." I'm like, what? Right? And then another time again in Mexico, and then this guy's like, "Oh yeah, I want to do like in-person coaching." Boom, here, a few K,
That
and it
was
was all,
awesome.
yeah, and it's just like I didn't even have a business at this point. I just had like luck and then an existing client, and that's how I survived. But like if you focus on the negative as like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, you're gonna it's like the law of attraction. Like it's gonna just come more into your life. But you basically just want to ignore that at some point because you can't really do much about it. You just ignore it and you say everything's gonna work out. Like my world always takes care of me, or like God always takes care of me, whatever you believe in, and it's just gonna happen. Like crazy shit is gonna happen. That's my experience. So I think that was like really good because now if shit hits the fan, I can always go back to that mantra, and it's always gonna work out. So I'm not even afraid of anything anymore.
So has that happened since, or like you've been like that close to being broke? Is just almost just been the end of it all, or has it just been always just like you said, the two situations where you just had two clients just been like, hey, I want you to like
Yeah, so one
coach
time
me, and
I just had like random money coming to me from inheritance, what I never expected, just came out of nowhere. And then the other time I just had like a client, but that like I never went that deep into broke again after that.
so yeah, you'd be
So these were like two times where it was like super super difficult. But sometimes I even have like very low funds and I have to figure something out. I'm always just like, okay, let's go. Like we're gonna figure it out, and you're always gonna figure it out. And that's a
Do
big
you
problem.
also travel in those sort of situations where you're like, okay, I'm just going to move from here for a little bit? Or do you just stick there and be like, okay, let's adjust the plan. Let's see what I can do. Let's see how I can adjust. What sort of your mind, what sort of is your thinking when like you hit like the low funds and you're like, oh shit, I'm fucked. What can I do?
Um, Obviously you don't want to go into like crazy spending mode or something, and just like I'm gonna go on a crazy travel or something. But at the same time, you don't want to like the big thing is the scarcity mentality, right? You don't want to go into scarcity. It's like, oh no, I can't pay $3 for the Uber because I'm broke, Because then you're just saying like I'm broke and I don't trust in the world, you know?
Yeah.
Like you want to trust like things gonna get like take care of you. One thing I also do is like give money away, especially when I'm like in a shitty situation, you know? Like give money away and don't tell anyone about it and just give it away like freely. Like I had in Brazil, I was super broke and I had this guy come up to me and he's like, "Please, like I need money for my baby." And I was like, I don't know if he's scamming me or not, but it doesn't matter. Like the gesture counts, right? So I was like, "Yeah, buy some food for your baby. I'm gonna pay it for you." And he buys food and I pay and it's like $50. I'm like, man, it's like I didn't expect that. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. You know? And these things, I mean, when you're broke, just giving $50 away is not that good. Um, but yeah, I mean, usually like things you just give away, if you give money away or whatever way, usually comes back like 10 times. Mm. But the best thing is to not tell anyone about it because you don't want to just like virtue signal it. You just want to do it because you do it.
Yeah, you do it for the yak, not for the praise.
Yeah, I mean, if I always see people like, I just donated this and this, I'm like, bro, you don't donate and just tell everyone about it. That's not how it works usually. No.
It's,
But yeah, I mean, trusting, just like having mantras, like my world's always going to take care of me, everything's fine. And also, like, nothing is that serious in the end. Like, you are, like, I'm German, I have a German passport. You're Australian, you have a Australian passport. We are
yeah.
like the top. we are like the top 5% in the world. You know,
It's like,
like even if you're broke, you're still gonna be like every Brazilian, every Colombian is like, I wish I would have his passport.
yeah,
So that's another thing. Like in the end, like even if you're broke, like you're still super wealthy.
you still also got enough abundance to get out of it if you have the right systems in place, like, or if you got the right skills in place. It's like,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I also have like family, right? So I was always, if shit would hit the fan, I could ask my mom, hey, can you borrow me money and stuff. So that helps as well. But obviously, like when you're 27 years old or something, you're not like, I don't feel comfortable asking my parents for money,
yeah.
you know.
But then wouldn't you just resort to your mates or something from there, or
No, I would first ask my family before I ask my mates. I would not ask my mates for money. No,
okay,
that's not how I definitely. That's like the last thing I would do. I don't know.
but
Too proud for
it's
that.
quite, yeah, it's kind of crazy to think of though. It's just like, like sort of, oh, also just thinking about it, what sort of are like your mantras and that sort of stuff to life? Because it's like obviously yours is like just don't take everything too seriously. Just like also like God, the universe, whatever will look after you. Like what else? It's sort of like your mantras that you are
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. And also, it's called just always seeing advantage, right? Is also from reality transurfing. Always see the advantage in everything, right? Like, if this happens, what's the advantage of this? What's the advantage of this? For example, like I fucked up my knee in Mexico, right? Like ligament, like a crucial ligament. You can't really see any advantage. But I was just like, in these 3 weeks, I was in Mexico without anyone, completely alone, sitting in my bed. And I was like, fuck, fuck, fuck. I didn't know anyone. I couldn't walk properly, and I didn't know what I have. And this time I was just like researching, like, oh, like dogs in Germany, like adopt dogs and everything. Probably if I would have never gotten that, I would have never done the research, and I would never gotten the dog. Because the dog I got is like it's like the best decision I did in my life. You know.
that's awesome. That's
So
all just from a
yeah.
crushed ankle. Yeah,
Well, I mean, it's torn ligament. It's like
torn. Yeah,
yeah, it's still fucked actually. But like you always want to see the advantage in things. And I think you can always find it as well. Even this thing like being completely broke on the beach, that taught me to just be completely broke on the beach. You know, to just like to just be like, okay, like because next time I'm gonna be there, I'm like, oh, we've been here before. It's like
yeah.
a guy who fights in a war and then the war comes to his country. It's like, okay, we've been here, we've seen that. He's gonna fucking outdo everyone. Everyone's gonna be like, this is the guy, this is the leader. He knows what to do, right? So that's why rock bottom is usually, yeah, very, very unfair. I mean, if you look at the biggest guys in the world, like Trump, he was like minus 100 million in debt or something.
Something like that.
Elon Musk, these guys were all like broke as fuck at some point. Um, but yeah, but the good thing about traveling is like Colombia, Brazil, Mexico, you see these guys who are like your age and they're just like pushing like an ice trolley in 35 degrees, you know, for work
Yeah,
for probably $1 an hour. And you are like, oh my God, I'm broke in Brazil, you know?
it's like it's
So
not the worst thing in the world.
yeah, traveling just helps you so much to just be like, man, like your problems are not that important. It's like it's important to you, but first of all, there's been millions of other people with that, and there's millions of other people who have way, way bigger problems than you. They got like a cancer diagnosis, they got a call that their mom died or something, like
Wars in their country. Yeah,
war in the country. Like there could be. And the good thing is also like zoom out of your situation and see the world and just see the world and just imagine like these billions of people and then imagine what kind of problems these have and then immediately you're like, nah, man, other people have bigger other and bigger problems than me.
you sound like you've very much got like a Hormozy sort of mindset to things. It's like his sort of mindset's like nothing matters. Like business can be done. Like business isn't really like an urgent. It just needs to be done. Like I can do it whenever. It's like sort of like nothing's really that important at the end of the day. Which is just zoom out and be like, this is how long the Earth's been running for. This is this is how many generations we've already been through. No one's going to remember you in 3 generations. It's that sort of. It reminds
Yeah.
me of that sort of mantra.
Well, Hormozy talks like that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, it's true though. It's true though. No one gives it. It also goes with approaching, right? If you're like, if people have like fear of approaching, like no one cares. Like no one cares you get rejected. No one cares she didn't want to talk to you.
it's like even the chick doesn't really care. It's just like you're just another guy. It's just you're just another number.
Yeah, yeah.
At the
And
end of
like
the day, it's just like
yeah. If you have like huge approach anxiety, you just take yourself way too seriously and way too important. You know? It's like this is the moment, like the universe is gonna change. No. You're just talking to a girl. But yeah, I think having like anytime go think things go to shit, just like zooming out, seeing like the universe, see the ball, see like the millions of years you've been here, see like I mean Germany been through like two world wars. They had actual problems, you know.
also their inflation at one point.
They were
To
what?
think about it, their inflation at one point was so like fucked. Like after World War One or something. Yeah, after World War One. I was just
Yeah, I
thinking
mean,
like,
yeah, they lost both world wars. They were like starving after the first one. They were starving. That's why they were so pissed and started the second one. Um, and then they got destroyed in the second one again. You know, and it's just yeah. I mean, the amount of actual suffering these guys went through is nothing compared to being broke on the beach in Brazil. So yeah,
but yeah, I think that pretty much just wraps it up, and
yeah,
yeah,
sounds good.
so like a good episode.
Yeah, I think so.